So, remember when charging an electric car was supposed to be cheap? Well, for a lot of us here in the UK, that's starting to change. Public charging prices have shot up, and in some places, it's now more expensive per mile than petrol. Today on EV Unplugged, we're breaking down why charging costs are rising, where's your money really going, and how you can still charge but using a little bit of smartness. Back in 2020, public rapid charging averaged between 25 and 30 pence per kilowatt hour. Fast forward to autumn 2025, and some ultra-rapid networks like Ionity and Shell are hovering between 79 and 85 pence per kilowatt hour, and a few of the outliers are now hitting the £1 mark. That means that a 60 kilowatt top-up, which is enough for most hatchbacks, could now cost between 40 and 5 and 55 pound. That's almost the same as fueling the petrol car over the same distance. So yeah, for a lot of drivers, that cheap running cost promise feels a little shaky right now. So why are prices rising? There are a few big reasons. Number one, wholesale electricity costs are still very volatile. Since the 2022 energy crisis where Russia illegally invaded Ukraine, charge point operators pay commercial rates, not the capped ones that us domestic users have, so their cost per kilowatt hour is still very elevated. They pass that charge on to us. Second one is VAT inequality. So public chargers get hit with 20% VAT, whilst at home we pay 5%. That's a 15% disadvantage before you've even plugged in your car. Thirdly, infrastructure costs. Rapid chargers cost tens of thousands to install and maintain. Plus, they get hit with a hefty grid connection fee. So as soon as they start to install a new bank of chargers, they're already tens of thousands in debt. They need to recoup that cost, which leads us on to number 4, profit margins. Early loss leader prices are gone as networks chase sustainability and investor returns. So if a charging station or a group of chargers or a charging company can show that people are using their chargers and they're paying a premium rate, such as at motorway services, then that makes investors very happy. And that means that they will invest more money into that company. Now, unfortunately, a lot of these companies that are doing that are the ones that are taking a slice of the pie from the petrol and diesel as well, the fossil fuel giants. Not only are they content with charging over-the-top prices for petrol and diesel services, they're now taking a slice of the pie on EV charging. So put all that together and it's easy to see why a quick top-up on the motorway suddenly feels like a luxury, and you might start to question, do I actually want to drive that far? So let's have a look at petrol and electric costs. A real-world scenario. So a petrol car doing 45 miles per gallon at £1.48 per litre works out around about 15 pence per mile. Now, a lot of the hybrids that I've driven recently come nowhere near to that 45 miles per gallon. Now take an EV that does 4 miles per kilowatt hour. If you're paying 80 pence per kilowatt hour at a motorway ultra rapid charger, then that's roughly 20 pence per mile. So it's more expensive than petrol in that scenario. It's not all bad news. If you can use a membership scheme or subscription, you can slash that cost. For instance, Instavolt's EV Driver Card gives you a rate of about 43 pence per kilowatt hour. That brings the cost to roughly 11 pence per mile, which is 25 to 30% cheaper than petrol. The Instavolt tap-on card charge for the general public is 85 pence per kilowatt hour, so it's a big saving. There's several subscriptions that they have. The one that I've recently used gives you that 43p per kilowatt hour, and it costs you £10.50 per month. So if you are somebody that drives around a lot and uses a lot of public charging, it's probably worthwhile looking at. For me, I used it to get to Paris and back, and then I cancelled the subscription, but I did benefit from those low rates. So picking the right network and payment method really does help, and it gets rid of those big £40 upfront charges that they like to hit us with as well before we even charge. So let's zoom out of the UK a little bit and have a look at the rest of Europe. So in France, Ionity charges about 52 cents per kilowatt hour, which is about 45 pence. That's their flat rate. That's not a subscription tariff. That is their flat rate for anybody and everybody. In Germany, it's closer to 60 to 65 cents, which is about 52 to 56 pence. Still drastically lower than the UK. And then in Norway, where clean hydro dominates, public charging often dips below 40 pence per kilowatt hour. That means UK drivers are paying some of the highest public charging prices in the whole of Europe. And the government needs to do something if they are serious about their clean energy bill and their net zero plans. So if you're just tapping a card at motorway service stations, you are seriously getting stung. Use a card or an application like Instavolt or some other smart apps, and suddenly those EV numbers actually look a little bit better. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. The real savings still come from home charging. Smart tariffs like Octopus Go or Ovo Charge Anytime offer off-peak rates between 7 to 10 pence per kilowatt hour. That equates to about 2 pence per mile. A full charge of a 60 kilowatt battery would be between £4 and £6 versus £45 at a public charger. Now, I'm with British Gas at the moment on my tariff, and I get discounted rates of 6 pence per kilowatt hour off peak. That is for the EV charger and anything else in the house. So overnight, all my appliances or equipment that run all the time get the benefit of that lower rate. But please do your own homework because everybody's usage and requirements are different. But the catch, you need a driveway or off-road parking, and not everybody's got that, and that is a big hurdle that the UK needs to get over. So what needs to change? There's growing pressure on the government to fix the VAT imbalance, expand on street charging, and improve competition between the charging companies. Some councils are rolling out curbside points, but coverage is still patchy. They are looking at curbside channels across pavements so you could run your own charger cable, but again, it costs money, and there is the risk that people may use extension leads that are not really suitable and become a fire risk. Until pricing becomes consistent though, owning an EV in Britain will stay a story of two drivers. Those that can charge at home and those that can't. So are EVs still cheaper to run? Definitely, if you charge smartly. But if you rely on public chargers and you're not part of one of the subscriptions, then you are paying premium. That's the equivalent of a petrol driver filling their car up every week with petrol that is super unleaded from the service stations. We wouldn't do it. So what do you think? Should the UK cut VAT maybe on public charging? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video useful, please hit like and subscribe and stay plugged into what's happening in the UK EV world. And I will see you on the next video.